never, ever doubt yourself. If you really think that you want to do something, just believe that you can do. Simple as that. Photo I posted was the photo of our wedding because we wanted people to know that we got married. Hindu is really was a big part of our preparation, civil services preparation. Good morning, all of you. I just wanted to understand like what kind of students or aspirants I'm addressing. So how many of you have already started preparing for the exam? And how many of you, so very few people have already started preparing. So most of you are thinking about it or what exactly? I just wanted to understand. Anybody would like to volunteer? I mean, are you preparing or you are thinking about preparing? You have to decide further. You haven't decided. Anybody? Yeah, you were saying? You're going to start. So you have decided to prepare and you're going to start.
Yes.
But only very few people had raised their hands when I asked like how many of you is going to start the preparation? Okay, most of you are going to start the preparation. That's nice. So I just wanted to understand that. So I was asked to talk about time management. My suggestion for time management might not be in line with popular thinking, but it's the most effective way. I would say that, people used to always scare me, even I was a medical college student. Of course, we are used to reading large volumes of books, okay? As a medical graduate, we are used to reading a lot of huge volumes of books, okay? So even then, somebody was mentioning that, we have to study 14 hours, 16 hours, and a lot of people do. And it gets a bit scary to listen, oh my God, really, I have to study for 14 hours, 16 hours, really? So let me be very, very frank with you. I could study 14 hours, 16 hours just before the exams probably. Even then, it wouldn't be 14 hours, probably 12 hours or 13 hours maximum, that too just before the exam, say a week before the exam. I couldn't do that on an everyday basis because I'm not that kind of a person. I studied like hardly 6 hours a day. Hardly 6 hours a day. Why I'm saying this is because I'm not saying that you should follow my footsteps. All I'm trying to say is that the number of hours doesn't matter. Don't compare yourself with others. The first thing when we used to prepare during our civil services is that, we always tend to compare how much the other person has covered. And, we always have this tendency to comparison, right? I mean, human brain is wired to compare ourselves with others. So never compare. Never compare yourself with others' preparation, no. But always be in touch with your peers. It really helps, okay? And keep updating any kind of strategy. What is more important is strategy. So in order to understand the strategy of preparation, you need to keep on going through the question papers. So keep going through the question papers, and even when you start studying, don't think that I went through the question papers like 5-6 months back and that's enough for me. No. As you read, as you keep preparing, every day if you spend, like before you start preparing, every day if you take one question paper and just see what are the questions that are being asked. No matter even if you have seen those questions like 20 times, 50 times before, still maintain a ritual of seeing the question paper first thing in the morning when you start to prepare. Because for that day, it will give you a perspective on how to strategize your preparation. So that is one tip I would like to give. So make it a ritual. Point number one is, of course, strategy is very, very important. And for that, you need to understand. See, we are all very oldies generation of IAS officers. Okay, so I wrote my exam like what? 2006 is the exam I appeared, right? 2007, sorry. So, lots have changed. It's been what? 13 years? Yeah. No, 18 years, sorry. 18 years. So, lots have changed in today's trend. So, but certain thumb rules hold true. One is, of course, strategy, because the syllabus is too vast. You can't prepare everything. So, go for strategy, and for that, every day, first time, before you sit for the preparation, spend 5 minutes on the question paper, and then you can strategize your preparation. and keep discussing with others, because others' perspectives really helps. I mean, keep discussing with some old friend, give a call, ask them like, any tips you have to give me, and you can share your tips, because during preparation, others' perspectives really help us. So point number 2 is be in touch with your peers who are preparing and keep getting their inputs. And third, I always feel that this is, that this is the toughest, this has been declared as the toughest exam in the world, right? You're aware? How many of you are not aware? Very few. So this is the toughest examination in the whole world. That is, it's been declared that it's the toughest exam. Why? Mainly because of this 1 year rigmarole. You start your prelims in May, and then your mains come somewhere in October, November, I don't know the dates nowadays. And then the interview comes in April, and the results are declared just few days before the prelims, wherein, if you don't make it, you'll have to again sit and prepare. That's a very painful process, So, I would hammer to every civil service aspirant again and again and again, this exam is all about stress management. It's all about stress management. Whether a person clears or not depends to a large extent. Of course, Sharda ma'am was mentioning about luck. Luck also matters. But in my point of view, luck definitely matters, but in my point of view, it is all about stress management. Because if you're stressed, it's going to really, really affect your performance while preparing as well as at the time of the examination hall. So my suggestion is stress can be best handled, because I'm sure many of you might already know. And, I've also written a book on the same aspect. So it's going to be launched tomorrow. If you're interested, you can read it. I'm also using this as an opportunity for a marketing. I'm sorry about that. But this is really where, I talk about how I manage my stress and everything. My only suggestion is learn a very nice meditation technique. It's not just going to help you for your preparation, but it's going to help you for your life. Really, really, it will help you for your life. There are some really wonderful meditation techniques available out there. So you can learn any one of them. And when it comes to time management also, because when you learn a meditation technique, what is a meditation? It's basically trains your brain and your mind to be focused. When we want to be physically fit, we run, we swim, we play sports, or we walk, whatever. So that is physical fitness, which is also important. Let me tell you that. So just because you are a civil service aspirant, do not forego your physical fitness regime. If you don't have one already, I know you're all young people, it is best that you start incorporating from today. Any kind of cardiac activity is good. Any kind, whichever you are interested. It could be running, walking, swimming, anything. So whatever suits you best, physical fitness. So when it comes to mental fitness, that is what meditation is all about. Everything starts from here, right? Everything starts from here. Even if you want to get up in the morning and go for a jog, this has to be in place, right? So for that, meditation really, really helps. And meditation is basically making the mind fit. And a fit mind will be able to focus better. And let me say that, in my experience, when I started meditating, my productivity increased. Okay. In the sense that, what takes usually, say, about 1.5, 2 hours, or 1 hour, whatever work takes about 1.5 to 2 hours, I was able to complete it within half an hour. That's the kind of time saving you will do, because your mind is focused. Your focus on the work is so high that you know what exactly needs to be focused upon. So the mind becomes concentrated. So when you have that level of focus, then, I'm sure you will be able to manage your stress, you can manage your time, above all, you can manage yourself. That's more important, right? You can manage yourself. So meditation is not just for the preparation, it's for your life. You start meditating, I'm telling you, even tomorrow if you get married, the chances of you getting divorced will also will be coming down. Because that has happened in my marriage, let me tell you that, you know. We were fighting like cats and dogs, me and my husband. But when I started meditating, right, you know, I mean, we really calmed down as people. And today both of us are meditating. And let me say that, you know, our life is really great. What it was like 12 years back and what we have today is something amazing. And it's mainly because our mind has calmed down. So meditation is a life skill. You can start that. That is something I wanted to say. So that's all I can say about time management. And of course, you know, every day spend about 15 minutes to just plan, you know. Spend about 15 minutes, if not every day, at least every other day. Every other day, spend 15 minutes for planning. And again, this goes for entire life. Your life depends on planning. Most of the time we don't plan, right? I mean, we just do something. So always take 15 minutes to plan, but not more than that. Too much planning is also bad. And then we don't execute. So keep a timer, keep an alarm. For 15 minutes, just plan. You know, I mean, plan your day and, you know, go ahead. And another thing is that during civil services preparation, all these competitive exams, you know, we always feel that we can't afford a break. Don't do that. You know, give a day or at least half a day every week just for yourself. Do something that you really enjoy and winds you down. You know, give time for your family, give time for friends. Somebody is coming to town to see you, just meet with them. You know, you plan in such a way that, you know, you don't sacrifice things. You know, then we'll feel bad that, you know, we have sacrificed so much, we have given up so much. So all that, if you really planned, if you're really focused, if your mind is really calm, you know, you can take it in a very, very systematic and planned manner and in the most productive manner. So that's about, I can give about the topic given to me. But I would like this to be more an interactive session. I'm an open book. That is what this book is all about. So you can ask me any question. Anything you want to know about service or you want to know about anything under the sun. I would like to take questions from you and then answer accordingly.
This is more of a personal question. I have seen.
You can ask me anything, as I said.
You talk about like women being more like better emotionally intelligent than men, and I strongly agree. I believe the same, that idea. But
you really believe?
I really believe that
okay.
idea. But
girls note it, huh? Okay.
My question is kind of same, but there is difference. I'm thinking like if you want to get into this service, I consider purpose as the main factor of getting into the service. I should have a strong sense of purpose to serve the people, to get into the service. And sometimes it's very difficult to have that purpose all the time. And people are different, and most of the time everybody works differently, and different things work for different people. And the question I want to ask is that sometimes ego comes in between. Is there anything that you can suggest on how to handle that? Like there's a purpose and there's ego, and I think
how to handle others' ego? Is that
no,
your question?
No, that's not the me. Like to how to have this.
Keep yourself motivated. No, I don't understand your question.
I'm thinking like we need to have the purpose, right? But
you need to have a purpose.
There is sometimes ego comes in between, but ego is not good. Like how do we, like any suggestions on how to keep this purpose straight and keep ahead of this?
Okay, I understand. And if you think my answer is not satisfactory, you can ask me again. Okay. So what I understand is that I always say this to civil service aspirants who are about to decide. But since you have already decided, I didn't say this to you. I always see most of the time, most of the time people come to the services because it looks very glamorous, right? I mean, being an IAS officer means that, you are socially well acclaimed, your social recognition, everything is very great, So it's a kind of, I'm also, by the way, I'm interested in understanding the human mind. So I did my MSc psychology. So psychologically, all of us are wired to get this external validation. We want validation, right? All of us. You know, you understand what is validation, right? We want others to tell us that we are great. We want the society to tell us that we are great. You know? So most of the time, you know, in today's world, it's not just about IAS. Our society trains us to choose only such careers which will give us what? Validation, yes, but when will the society validate that you're successful? When does the society validate that you're successful? Huh? Yeah, status. So what will give you that status? Power? Power gives you status. What else gives you status? Money, absolutely. And what else? Huh? Fame. Position is power, right? Position and power are related. So basically it boils down this trinity, right? Power, money, and fame. So our society, we are conditioned, you know, by our society that unless you have either one of these three, you know, you're not a great person. So a simple farmer, a humble farmer who's doing a great job, doing a wonderful job of growing healthy food for his community and living a very quiet but happy life, peaceful life, he's not considered successful. How many of us have been inspired to become a great farmer? How many of you? Does our society inspire us to become a great farmer? No, right? Why? Farming is such a noble job. It's a wonderful job. Why is it our society doesn't promote, you know, such a wonderful occupation? Sorry? Can you pass on the mic? I'm not able to hear him. And so can not others.
Is it because it is non-profitable?
Yeah, non-profitable, yeah. So that's exactly the point. It boils down back to money, right? So it boils down to money, right? So unless, that's what I'm trying to say. So exactly, that's a point because it's not very profitable, so to speak. Okay. So we have always been made to believe that, you know, the society always validates us only when you have three of these things. So as long as we keep running against this external validation, we will never find our purpose. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, because whatever it is, you know, whether it is power, money, fame, whatever it is, it will come and go. One day you'll be in a powerful position, one day you'll be forgotten. Okay, one day you'll be famous, the next day you'll not be famous. So the moment you become not famous, you know, then many people become depressed. Ma'am was talking about, Sharda ma'am was talking about social anxiety, depression and everything. I'll come to that later. But the point is, today's world, right, trains us to always crave for external validation. Your source, your personality should be in such a way that you always understand the only person who has to validate yourself is you, nobody else. So you live by your heart, not by others' mouth. Okay? You live by your heart. So when you do that, when you really, really listen to your heart, then you'll always have this clear sense of purpose in your life. Most of the time, we don't listen to our hearts. Okay? Because listening to our hearts have become very difficult. You know, all the time we are like this. So we don't even look inside. We always look here. Right? And we always look elsewhere. You know? We look at so many things around, outside us. We don't look inside us. So please, all I want to say today is that the only person who has to validate you is you. Go for that internal validation. Listen to your heart. And you'll always be in touch with your purpose. And I always say, IAS is a really, really beautiful job. But you know what is the main beauty of it? Because it gives you the wherewithal to do something for humanity, for people at large. Okay? You can really make a difference to every person in the country. I mean, of course there are challenges. I'm not saying there are no challenges. Challenges are aplenty. But the point is, still, a good person sitting in the chair would definitely would be contributing a lot to the society. You can make a difference to each and every person there. So unless your sense of purpose is clear, and what is that purpose, that you need to define yourself. What is the purpose of coming to service? Ask yourself this. Many of the time, people say, my parents asked me to come, so that's why people come. Okay? It's only a very handful of few people, or many people would come because of the social status, because of exactly this external validation of the society. Many of them think that it's a great career, it's a great job. But for what? So don't come here for the glamour of being an IAS officer or for the power of being an IAS officer. If you are really clear, I'm here because I want to serve the society, serve the nation, then no matter what ego clashes come, no matter what, you have this internal validation within you, then you will never question your purpose. But if you come here because you want to become a successful officer in the eyes of the others, then let me say, you'll be in for a great disappointment. But if your internal validation and internal clear sense of purpose is this, yes, this position gives me a great opportunity to contribute to the humanity at large, then you will always be internally motivated. Your motivation will come from inside. Once again, I have to say, meditation really helps in giving you a clear sense of purpose. Meditation is not something that people popularly believe. It has got much more deeper ramifications for your own self and for the society. So in order to keep yourself internally motivated, I would once again come back to, again, the human mind, meditation, keep your mind fit. I hope that answers the question. Thank you. Okay, any other question? How long do I have? Yes, please.
Ma'am, I have two questions. At first, what inspired you to be an IAS officer? The second one, what are the challenges that you faced in the initial stages of your career?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, frankly speaking, I don't know how many of you would believe this when I say, as long as I remember myself as a child, I wanted to become a leader who could bring social change. I come from Tamil Nadu, so I see, a lot of problems in our society as I grow up. Okay, so I've always wanted something inside me. My heart used to tell me. So I was listening to my heart somehow since when I was young. So my heart was telling me that I should become a leader where I can really help create a better world and make other people's lives better. So that has always been my own source of inspiration. Somehow this thought was there from when I was a child. So unlike the popular thinking in the society, I didn't want to become a doctor or an engineer for the sake of becoming a doctor or an engineer. I wanted to, as a matter of fact, I became a doctor because I was sitting and thinking as a child, how to become a leader. Today there are so many career guidance counseling, how to become an engineer, how to become a doctor, how to become a chartered accountant, but hardly we have any career counseling for how to become a leader. Do we? We don't, right? Of course, civil service aspiration is there, but as a child, I didn't even know that there is something called IAS. When I was very young, I didn't know that there was something called IAS, nothing. So all I wanted to become a leader. So as a child, like 8-year, 9-year, 10-year-old child, I used to wonder how to become a leader. And all I knew is that, the familiar route for all of us is politics, right? But I don't have much of a political background. So I didn't know how to enter politics. Maybe I thought I should enter politics. But then, I didn't know how to enter politics. So I was a nobody. I am coming from a regular Tamil middle class family, so I was a nobody. So I felt I have to become somebody so that, from there I can take my journey to become a leader. And that's when I felt, okay, at least if I become a doctor, I would be at least somebody in the society where I can do something for the society, and from there I can go on. And that's why I became a doctor. And I knew that I was a very people-oriented person. So I didn't even write my engineering exam because I knew that, I can't establish relationship with computers because, I'm a very people person. I'm a very people-oriented person. So I didn't even write my engineering entrance. So I became doctor. At that time, my idea was that if I don't become a doctor, anything that will help me serve people. So at that age, at that tender age, I felt, either I could become a lawyer to help people deliver justice, especially for the poor, or become a journalist. Because as a journalist, you can, really bring out the truth about the society and you can really spread some awareness. So these were my career choices. Number one was to become a doctor. If not doctor, then become a lawyer, and if not a lawyer, but maybe a journalist. So these were my career options. My family was shocked. It's like, what kind of choices you have? Okay, because everybody in my family had become engineers at that time. So everybody had set a great precedence of becoming engineers and going abroad. And looking at my choices, they were all laughing. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Listen to your heart. Make your own terms, define your own terms, and you'll never be bogged down by anything else in your life. And to answer the second question, what are the challenges? There are many challenges, life is all about challenges, right? So no matter where you are, challenges are going to be there. I'll have my own set of challenges, you'll have your own set of challenges. As ma'am was saying, all you need is the courage and the determination and the perseverance to face those challenges. And when your heart is in the right place again, you will know how exactly you can face those challenges. Okay, so that's all I would like to say. Anything else? We'll take one more question. I think he's been raising hands from that time on. Yeah.
You say that discuss PYQs with your friends.
Yeah.
But I am from a village of Palakkad, and I have no peers who really aspires these competitive examinations. So what should I do for that discussion
Come on,
purpose?
you are in an age of internet, okay.
Yeah, can I use chatbots for this purpose?
Sorry?
Chatbots like ChatGPT or others for this discussion
Of
purpose?
course you can. You can use ChatGPT. Of course, it gives valuable insights. Nowadays, ChatGPT is giving valuable insights. But at the same time, this peer support is also to keep you motivated, because many a times, the stress will pull you down. So if you just talk to your peers, it'll be great. So you have your WhatsApp, you have your online meeting platforms, right? So you can always meet once in a while with your friends, and once in a while go out to the city just to meet with friends who are preparing. Where are you placed?
I am Irumbalasheri, from a remote village of Palakkad.
Palakkad, alle? Sheri. I'm sure Palakkad is a town coaching centers. So you can just visit once in a month.
No coaching institutions. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so now that you have come here, you'll slowly get a network. Or a network kittum. Adanusarichu, you can keep meeting online, or have a WhatsApp group, something like that. Yeah, okay. Yes.
I'm a working professional, so I'm not sure how many of people here are working, and I'm not in a position to leave my work and prepare 1 year, 2 year, and
Right.
what advice do you have in terms of time management and strategy for?
What do you do?
Ideally I wanted to do journalism, and I almost joined Hindu 2 years back, but now I am in a corporate IT.
Corporate IT. Yeah. Okay. How is the nature of your work? How long do you get to work in a day?
8 hours. I'm working from home. It's 8 hours.
Ma'am, what do we need to prepare for UPSC as an 11th grader?
Okay, fine. You're 11th grader or what?
I'm 11th.
Okay.
I'm an MBBS graduate and current for CSE 2026. So ma'am, my question to you is, you were talking about listening to one's heart. So how important is it to wear heart on your sleeves, to be vociferous, to be openly opinionated on social media? I am born in 1999, so a Gen Z. So how important it is for us? Because nowadays, after the results come, we see a lot of the toppers who make their accounts public, social media handles public, and even you had posted a reel 2 days back, which I had reshared. So how important it is, because it should be aligning with the political ideologies of the party, and where, again, listening to one's heart is important, being fluid is important. That's my question, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Tirtha. My ambition is to become an IAS officer. I'm a pretty confident person when it comes to pursuing my dreams. But at the same time, as we all know, since civil service is a competitive race, and it's very difficult to sometimes give up on that also. And that's the current trend also. People go on attempt a lot So in my case, I'm a person who faces self-doubts at certain times. We all we might have gone through such a situation. Even ma'am might have also gone through such a situation. There are a lot of emotional intelligence mechanisms which I should develop. So there are moments when I have some fear of failure, some stress.
You're not the
problems.
only one.
But sometimes I'm confident and determined. I have the ability to go for that. I need something for the nation. I have that concept, but still there are moments when I face a lot of chaos and emotional turmoils in my life. So what advice would you give? And also people who aspire to become a civil servant, but still face such stress in their life.
Okay. So I think I've taken too many questions. I'll forget the answers. So one is that, of course, how to work and then do that. As a matter of fact, a lot of people have done that. Forget about work. I know many women officers who have given birth to a baby and written exams, and you know how a baby is, right? It will wake up in the middle of the night and won't even let you sleep properly. But I've seen some really wonderful superwomen officers who have done that too. Unfortunately, my situation was very comfortable, so I might not be the best person to say that to you, but I can only say that it can be done. You definitely can be done. It's all about smart work, strategization, and maybe, I don't know if the Hindu can particularly look for officers who have worked and then made it to the services. And also people with children. Such officers can be specifically called so that, this message can also be given, that people who have worked and cleared the exams, people who have given birth to children and cleared the exams. So there are many such inspiring people. I'm sure it can be done. Please never doubt yourself, and it can be done. All you need is a little bit of planning and, of course, meditation, and you can do it. Okay. For 11th grader, I think all you need to focus right now is, see, usually for school children, sometimes when they want to prepare for civil services, some advice that they have been given is that go for a course like, I don't know, public administration or something like that, which is relevant to civil services, so that, you can finish within 3 years and you can enter the service very early. So that is a kind of advice many people get. I'm not saying it's a bad advice, but in our case, I always feel that the success percentage in the civil service examination is very low. You all know, right? Almost 4.5 lakhs to 5 lakh people write the exam, and hardly 1,000, 1,500 or 2,000 people get into the service. And only another 150 or 70 come into the IAS. So the pass percentage is very, very less. So I feel what will give you courage to prepare the exam and face the exam is if you have a fallback option. So having a good, any other career that you have in mind, like what I had, being a lawyer or whatever, have a fallback option. Always think like, what would you like to do if you don't become an IAS officer? And let me ask, I would like to reiterate what Sharda ma'am was saying. IAS is not the end of the world. Okay? And read my book, you will definitely know that IAS is definitely not the end of the world. As young people, you have so much youthful energy. Your biggest advantage is the energy of the youth. Ask me, I'm in my 40s. That energy is incomparable. So with this energy, you have your entire life ahead of you. No matter what you want to do, you can always do whatever you want to do. So always have this backup scenario on what would you like to do if you don't get into the IAS. So as a 11th grader, you need to choose whichever course you want to do with this in mind. Okay, so what if I don't make it to an IAS officer? Number one. Number two, I would suggest that currently it is all about general personality development. Okay, so general personality development, you were talking about emotional intelligence. Learn more about emotional intelligence. Of course, meditation will increase your emotional intelligence. If you're 18 years of age, you can start meditating. But overall personality development, including your communication skills, of course, reading newspapers. Of course, Hindu Hindu is really was a big part of my our preparation, civil services preparation. It was a standard newspaper. I never used to read newspapers. As I said, when I was a girl, I was a very naive girl. I started first reading the newspaper only when I decided I'll become an IAS officer. Till then, I've never read a newspaper, frankly speaking. So, Hindu has been a great partner in my civil service preparation. So, start preparing. Keep making notes. Now you have only all these online articles, right? You can start preparing notes like, anything. For example, bilateral relationships. So, India, China, or India, US, whatever. So, you can have a topic. So, keep making notes under that topic from this age. So, that will come in a long way. It will be your own notes. So, you'll have a very personalized touch to your notes. So, of course, current affairs is one thing you can keep focusing, and overall personality development. And coming to what Pawan asked. Pawan, right? Yeah. Pawan asked about what exactly, listen to our heart and how to, in case we don't agree with something. Is that what you asked? You don't agree with something. And in the social media presence, right? Yeah, okay. So, now social media is a double-edged sword, okay? You need to be very, very emotionally intelligent on how to use social media for your welfare as well as others' welfare. Even though I'm being very conscious, even at times, even I tend to falter, but then I keep telling myself, this is only for the larger good. The moment you try to validate yourself with the social media presence, then again that's a problem. So, when it comes to voicing our opinions, of course, we have these civil service conduct rules. I hope you are aware. We have these civil service conduct rules where you won't be able to make opinions that is in contradiction to the government's policy. You can't criticize or you can analyze and advocate the government policies, but you can't, in public, you can't criticize or opinionate on government policy. So these restrictions are anyway there. So you can make general opinions, you can make general comments in the social media. It's nothing wrong. If you ask me personally, I was never a social media person. I remember the first of these social media platforms came when we were just finishing college. So at that time it was Orkut. Facebook was not there. It was Orkut. And we saw a lot of our friends getting inside Orkut and posting pictures, sharing messages. But somehow, neither me nor my husband at that time, neither of us had any urge to get inside Orkut. But then first time we got inside Orkut was for the civil service preparation, for the networking I was talking to you about. Because they said this networking is very good. People keep giving you suggestions on how to prepare. So, adhine vendi maatramana aadyam Orkut like njan account therakanadu. This was in the year 2006, 7, somewhere around that time. After that, somebody said, no, now it's Facebook. Create an account in Facebook. So, I created an account in Facebook. I think the only photo I posted was the photo of our wedding because we wanted people to know that we got married. Adana session oru post polum njan ittilla and odikkalum poi keeritumilla. I became socially active on the social media during my district collectorship, mainly because I felt, I didn't talk about sustainability. I didn't want to bore you with that. We don't have that kind of a time here right now. But I feel, as ma'am was saying, we don't know what kind of future we are going to, right? And not many of us are educated on the kind of problems that our future is holding for us, right? We are always in the mad rush to survive today in this world. So we hardly have time to think about tomorrow, okay? So we hardly get trained on what future holds for us. But luckily, I had some wonderful people who taught me and who made me see what the future is holding for us. So that is why, I started working in the sustainability sector. Of course, I was in waste management, and then even during my collectorship, I had a pet project called Change Can Change Climate Change. It stands to the it's C to the power of 5. That's what it stands for. Change can change climate change. As a matter of fact, we are once again starting an internship. You're all welcome to be our interns. I'll definitely give you a certificate that you have done the internship. it'll be a great way of getting trained on those aspects which we normally don't get trained. So it'll be a great opportunity for you. So you can become interns. So I'm selling that also today. So the idea is that, I wanted to create this awareness about, because this is a collective effort. This is every one of us have to bring in the change so that, we can head for a sustainable future. So I was working bottom up. I wanted to take the people on board. So that is when the first time I started using the social media. And it so happened that, of course, for the flood, this came in very handy. And when the, request for help for the flood-affected victims came in, social media was a great platform wherein, we could coordinate this huge effort. So as I said, social media has its advantages as well as disadvantages. How to use it wisely, again, comes from our own emotional intelligence factors, which again, will come from a calm mind. If you meditate, you can listen to your heart better, and you'll also have the courage to work what your heart says. And of course, there will be times you will have challenges in not allowing you to do or say things which your heart says, but then it's everybody's situation. We still have a lot of space in this world to do what we can do. Never think about what we cannot do. There will always be something that we can do, you can do, I can do, all of us can do. Even if you don't become an IAS officer, there will be this space where there is something that you can do. Think about only those things. And that will always guide you for the purpose in your life. My dear friends, we always, again, believe what others say we are. Okay? Sometimes it is our parents, sometimes it is our siblings, sometimes it's our friends, sometimes it's our teachers, sometimes anybody for that matter. But trust me when I say this. Trust me when I say this. Each of you and your mind has unlimited potential. That is the beauty of being a human being. There is a beauty of being a human being. A human being, every one of you has unlimited potential. Okay? So never ever believe what your own mind tells you. Because mind is a very tricky organ, We have our heart, we have our stomach. They all work silently. But this mind, no, it always keeps making noise. So we don't hear whether, only when our stomach makes a grumble, then we listen to the stomach. Otherwise, they all work very silently, right? Mind is not like that. Mind is also an organ. So don't even believe what your mind says. So this, just believe this. You want to do something, if your heart says, don't forget about your mind says. Mind will always self-doubt. Mind will always give you fear. It is your heart which tells you what you want to do, right? So it is your heart which will tell you what you want to do. So forget about the mind. The mind's job is to create fear. The mind's job is to create self-doubt. The mind's job is to create anxiety. The mind's job is to create a depression. Okay, that is the mind's job. It is a very, very tricky organ that we have all got. Okay? So never, ever doubt yourself. If you really think that you want to do something, just believe that you can do. Simple as that. Don't expect another person to tell you, because it never happened to me. I was like that. I'm telling you, trust me, I was like that. I was one person with a lot of inferiority complex, for that matter, when I grew up. Had a lot of inferiority complex. Now people wouldn't believe that I had a lot of inferiority complex. Self-doubt was everyday noise. Every day my mind used to say, can you do this? Can you be like that person? Can you be like this person? This is the mind's job, okay? But all the time, there was another voice inside me which told me that you can do something. So trust that voice. And do not believe what others say. And as I said, do not even believe what your own mind says. Just believe in yourself. Each of you has unlimited potential as a beautiful human being born on this planet. So realizing that full potential of yours is your life purpose. So believe in yourself and do that. And again, I can't help it. Meditation removes all your fears, anxiety, and self-doubt. So do follow a good technique of meditation. So I think with that, we'll come to a close. Thank you so much for a wonderful opportunity. And I hope to see some of you in our upcoming projects. Thank you. Thank you so much.